Are you looking to improve your calculation in chess? Watch this awesome video by chess coach SmithyQ. He's one of the best chess coaches that I know in terms of breaking down concepts and explaining. So here's his thoughts, a few examples on how to calculate in chess. Enjoy.
Okay, hi everyone, so I'm SmithyQ and I'm back with another video analysis. I actually have a puzzle for you today. This is one that I shared in the ChessGoals Discord, had a pretty good discussion about it. It took me 30 minutes to solve this, but it's not a 30-minute puzzle. So we're going to do two things today. First, I'm going to share how I approached this puzzle and explain why it took 30 minutes. And then second, I'm going to share sort of the proper way that you should be approaching these sort of puzzles. Because that is, it's not enough just to find the right move or to guess or what have you. We want to be able to take what we learn and apply it in our own games. And that means we need to approach these sort of positions, all positions, in that systematic way. To find the right move in the right way for the right reasons. So I invite you to pause the video, spend as much time as you need, hopefully not 30 minutes. What would you play as black? Okay, so here's what I did. Now first, before we jump in, it's always useful in a puzzle to just take a second, look at the general ideas, look at the themes. Here it's pretty simple. Material is equal. That's always a good thing to note at the very beginning. We each have a knight, we each have a rook, we each have a queen, we each have 5 pawns. In terms of potential themes, we can see that this knight is potentially hanging, and the knight is hanging. It didn't take me 30 minutes to see that. But we can see that White's idea is after take, we have a weak back rank. And so Matt Jensen might fall for this. But yeah, that'd be checkmate. Which is a real shame, because after e7, I got some arrows. Let me just delete those. That pawn's actually impossible to stop. The king can't get closer, right? Nope, we control it. The rook can't go back. Nope, we control it. And the rook can't get behind. We control it. So that pawn is going to become a queen. Except it's checkmate. Checkmate ends the game. Whoops. So that just right there gives me a sense of this position. There's a knight that's hanging, we got a weak back rank, we have a pawn that's very close to queening. If we can combine all these themes, that's probably the solution. First things first, we want to look at some candidate moves. So obviously we want to check that. Maybe we check exchanging the knight, though that seems a little bit silly. This move jumps right out, doesn't it? Knight takes f2. Why? Because after the recapture, and we can see that White doesn't have much of a choice. There's a pin here. I'm not a pin, there's a fork. But after the capture, look at this, we take the knight with check. Oh, isn't that beautiful? And after he's going to recapture, we slide the queen over. That's check, discovered attack. Oh. Rupper rook, GG. That's got to be the solution, right? Let's do a quick double check. Knight takes f2. Take the... I guess White has a choice here, right? White doesn't have to recapture. You just go queen e2. And now we don't have a check. We have no check. If we just exchange, we're up an extra pawn, but White's going to take that. Okay, so that's probably not it. I guess we can't not exchange, right? Because if we just move the queen out of the way, well, there's that checkmate again. Okay, so we have to exchange, and we have to exchange rooks. I mean, if we don't, we do something like this. I mean, he's going to win that pawn. Again, equal material. Okay. So, again, I can't take the knight right away. Well, not that. He's threatening mate, so he's too fast. Like, doing this check doesn't matter. I can pick up some pawns, maybe. But he's still threatening the checkmate. Okay. So what about knight takes f2? There we go. We'll move the queen with check. I guess that doesn't do anything either, right? Because I can't even recapture the knight, because again, there's that same theme. and I've got no checks. Again, if I take the knight, we got take, and I'm not fast enough. So I'm not going to belabor this too much more. Imagine that, but for half an hour. That was my thinking process. And do you see the trap that I fell into? Every single time I went to this position, I was thinking, take. I was automatically recapturing both sides. In chess, we very often have a choice. And if we have the discipline to realize we have a choice, we start seeing moves. Here's what I should have done, and here's what I eventually did, is I realized that black does have a choice. After take, before we immediately recapture, what are our choices? Okay, I can't advance the pawn. I would love to, but no, it doesn't work. But I've got this check. Checks are always a choice. Okay, he moves. Now, yes, I can recapture, but I have a choice. Knight e3. The big move that took me basically 30 minutes to see. Because after he takes, once more we have a choice. Instead of just recapturing and being down exchange, we take with check. The queen is no longer defended, and so if he just moves, we're up 2 pieces, or you could give up the queen and we're up a rook. After knight e3, we win. And there's also an interesting position because white has a choice. White doesn't have to take. If white takes, well then that comes with check. So what if white doesn't take? Well, now we're able to take. White's going to recapture. And now we can queen the pawn with check. We're in time, and then we're up a queen, he gets a rook. We're going to do something, I don't know, h5, king. We're going to do something to make sure we don't get back ranked. We're up a queen, we win. So what was my trap? My trap was the very common, he captures, I recapture. And that, well, loses for black. Instead, the proper idea, even right here, what did we do? We looked for candidate moves. What are the candidate moves? Here, we got this. Maybe we could move the queen. Maybe even knight takes h2. h5, defending the knight. We've got a couple of different candidate moves. And yet, my trap was that after take, I was just automatically playing the first moves. Right? It's almost like I ignored the whole idea of candidate moves in the first place. The candidate moves are our choices. And if we have the discipline to recognize that in every position there's a choice, right? I don't have to. What are my choices? Aha. This also works against king goes to g2 for the record. What are my choices? I could recapture the queen, but I've also got this. And it's the exact same thing. If he takes the pawn, that's check. He's going to lose the queen. And if he doesn't take the pawn, I'm going to be able to exchange queens. And then queen with check. Doesn't matter if he runs over here. Doesn't matter if he runs over here. I can exchange queens. And then queen with check. And that's really the right way to approach this position, is it not? It uses all the themes that we looked at. But more importantly, if we were to just go back to basics, in a tactical puzzle, what do you look for? You look for hanging pieces, and you check for checks, captures, threats. There's no, well, okay, there is a check. It's not very good, giving up our queen. But there's a hanging piece. There's a capture. And then all we have to do to find the solution is recognize on every single move, we have a choice. Instead of automatically recapturing, we have a choice. And then again, instead of automatically, we have a choice. And a huge part of chess skill is being able to essentially override those automatic moves, to consciously look for those choices. And that's when you find those hidden resources. Because this is really, honestly, if you think checks captures threats, and you think, what are my choices? You're going to find here, and then you're going to find I have a choice. You're going to find I have a choice. You're going to find I have a choice. And you solve this puzzle far faster than in 30 minutes. And this isn't just of this position. This applies to so much. Let me start from, no, I don't save this position. You know, let's look at some opening positions. This is a very common opening position. Bishop c4 takes. How do you recapture the knight? We've got a choice. It could be the d pawn. It could be the b pawn. Or we could take the main line, bring the queen out, threaten mate first, and then we recapture with the queen, with the pawn, either pawn. We have a choice. Same thing. Let's look at, this position. Very common position. White attacks our knight. What do we do with our knight? How do we move our knight? We have a choice. Instead of just focusing that, we can do this. It's check, and we pick up a piece. It's where we get stuck in this automatic, oh, he's doing something, I have to react. Instead of taking that step back and realizing we have a choice. Or at least looking for our choices is how we find these hidden resources. In this position, okay, these examples, they aren't the hardest. In the initial example, it took me 30 minutes to realize I had a choice. But if you can do that, checks captures threats, and every position you're basically rechecking for candidate moves. If you have the discipline to do that, and you can do that consistently, you're going to solve a heck of a lot of puzzles. So that's the big takeaway that I have. That's how you want to approach these positions. At least that's how I do it. That's how I try and do it. That's how I'm trying to train myself to do that. Every position, what are my choices? And then one move deep, what are the choices? One move deep further, what are the choices? The more you can do that, the more accurate your calculation, the better a chess player you're going to be. And how do you train that? In these sorts of puzzles. Basically every move, just make sure you ask, what are your choices? So I hope that was useful, hope that was helpful, hope that made sense. Questions, comments, let me know. Otherwise, that's going to do that for this one. So thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.